required for the one-to-one mapping? How many classes we require?
At least two.
Two Pojo classes, right? And for those two Pojo classes, we need two mapping files. And after that, one Hibernate configuration file, which is common for all the particular things. Next, after that, we have a Java file which performs the operation by using the vendor Pojo class and the customer Pojo class. So here, what is that one-to-many mapping? Here we have seen this, right? So in this thing, we have like one package is there. Before that, customer. So customer will have the customer ID, customer name, and one more thing, the mapping, the foreign key. So here, what is the foreign key? Customer vendor ID. Okay. So which vendor ID the customer is storing, that ID will be displayed. And in the vendor, just we are calling the setter and getter methods, and we are declaring a particular thing known as set. So what is set here? A collection object. Okay. And Naveen, did you try the hash? What is it? Hash set, right?
Yeah, actually, I saw that we are using the interface on the left hand side like set or collection, but I haven't tried, but I read like that.
Is it possible or not?
I think no.
Because we don't have a tag like XML tag we require actually. Like we use the set, right? Here we have used the set keyword, right? Set tag. In the same way we have the list and map, but we don't have it for hash set.
Hash.
Okay, for that reason you cannot create that particular object of hash set. But we know the reference. What is the reference? Sorry, what is upcasting?
Parent class can hold the child class.
Yes, it's nothing but like set is a reference which can store the subclass objects, right?
Yes.
Now after the set, we need to specify the foreign key column here and one-to-many tag. So this one-to-many is nothing but the vendor and customer related with this one-to-many, you can say. Okay. So the next concept will be many-to-one mapping. And here, similar to vendor and what you can say, customer, the relationship is applied like many-to-one relationship means the relationship is applied from child object to parent object. Okay, like reverse of this. Here what is happening? We are trying to apply the parent object to child object. We can see directly in the Hibernate mapping. We are having this s dot add c, right? Customers are getting added, and the parent object, what it's trying to do is mapping with the child object, right? Whereas the reverse of this is nothing but many-to-one mapping, you can say. Okay, and if you want to apply like what is it, many-to-one relationship between two Pojo class, we need to make some changes in this particular tags, and we apply a particular many-to-one tag, similar to one-to-many, you can say. So first, the same program I want to modify again. Okay. So in this thing, we have a customer. The vendor is same, right? Vendor will be having the ID, vendor will be having the name. After that, a customer. Inside customer, we need to like have a particular parent class object. Already the variable is there, right? That is a what you can say foreign key column. There is nothing but foreign key column. And apart from that, we need to specify a particular object that is related to the parent object. Okay, and the parent is nothing but vendor. Vendor is the parent and customer is the child, you can say. Okay, so now I want to modify the code. So vendor code will not change, vendor code will be the same. Why? Because inside the vendor we have two things, vendor ID and what is the next thing you can say, vendor name. So these two things will be there. And now after this we had the set example, right? So I just declare that private string vendor name, right? So inside that vendor I'm removing the particular set object now. Okay, because set is not being matched or mapped, we can say. So this is a set example, right? Here we have one more thing known as what? Set example. Now vendor has only the name and the particular ID. The next thing will be the customer. So what I said, many to one is nothing but we have the child class. In the child class we need the parent object. Then it is possible. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to open a customer.java. So in this customer.java, we have the customer ID. So instead of the customer ID also, you can specify a thing. What the thing you are trying to specify? Will create a vendor object like private so what you are saying here? Private vendor V is capital, right? And we need to set that object. Get object. First we need to declare the variable. For which variable you need to get the object. So it's what parent object, right? And for which scenario? It's a superclass and a subclass, right? So you just need to say that vendor is a parent object, you can say. So directly if you want you can use a parent object, or if you want you have another thing like parent objects, you can have an easy idea. Now I want to generate the getter and setter methods. Select that thing, right click, source, generate getter and setter methods, select all, and okay. Okay, so set course name, sorry, customer name and the customer ID has been set. Okay, now I don't want this particular customer VID. That's it, right? Now you need to open the vendor mapping.java. But before that, what tags we need to write in what place, that also we have to see. Okay. So next, after the vendor.java, we need a Hibernate mapping, which will be similar to the previous one. So vector vendor Hibernate mapping, right? So in this thing, we have the one-to-many classes, which is not required now. Okay, so what I've just done, I've removed the one to many tag from the customer, like vendor b, like hbm.xml. Okay, so I'm just removing it. ఇప్పుడు ఫారెన్ కీ ప్రైమరీ కీ ఏమైనా ఉంటుందా? లేదు. సో ఇదంతా తీసేస్తున్నాను. సెట్ అనే ట్యాగ్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తే క్లోజ్ కూడా చేయాలి. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి ఇప్పుడు? వెండర్ ఐడి and what is the next thing is a vendor name. Adena, is it clear what I'm trying to do here? Now, inside the customer, we need to write a property. What is that property? You can say many to one relationship. So what I have to write actually? Vendor.hbm is complete, right? Inside the customer.hbm.xml, we need to set this thing properly. Okay? So inside the customer, I need to write many to one tag. Previously in the vendor, I have written the one to many. So vendor is a single table and many subclasses, you can say. Okay? So now in the hbm.xml, we don't have to write anything else. But in customer, we need to have a particular thing known as many to one. So this customer VID is false, right? Why? Because I don't have any customer VID. So this customer also is getting one. Right? Now inside this particular thing, customer.hbm, I need to write a particular tag known as many to one tag. Many to one name we have to write. Okay? Or you have this many to one. And what is the name we have? That is nothing but the parent object what you have declared. So what is the declared thing here? Sorry, it's like vendor.hbm, right? So one to many, we need to create an object, parent object. Didn't we create? Is it the same file? Yeah. So private vendor. What we need to do? We need to create an object of that vendor, I'm saying, right? Is it the vendor or the particular child? Customer. Vendor we created in the last class. Customer we created now. Okay. Now inside the customer.pojo, like Hibernate and the XML file, we have few things. Okay. So what's the next thing we have? I need to write the parent object name. So what's the parent object here? Inside the customer we have, right? Parent object. So one to many parent objects. What's it column we have? Do you have any column? Suppose I just created a dummy column. I just name it as dummy. Okay. And we have one more thing known as cascade. What do you mean by cascade? Yesterday we have seen. What it indicates? All means what? First thing, cascade means what? So this parent objects and the particular column, whatever the column we have, it should be specified in a class. Which class this particular like parent object is representing, it's representing the vendor. So a class is there. What is the class name we have? Com dot one to many dot vendor. Com dot one to many dot vendor. Com dot one to many dot job. So same thing, com dot one to many dot vendor. Save this thing. So we have saved it. Now the Hibernate mapping. The object creation and adding will be changing now. Simple thing you have to understand, the values does not change. The object does not change here inside this. Multiple customers are there. Only one vendor is there. Right? The same thing also happening inside this particular Java also. Now I need to call a method. So which method is called to which particular thing? I have a customer where the object is being added. Which object? Parent object you can say. So if I created a parent object, that object must be, what do you have to do? Set and get. Okay. So we need to set the particular parameter and get the particular parameter you can see. Now, after this, what we have to add inside the Hibernate mapping operation, once the customer and vendor is there, vendor will store the values and customer needs to create object in auto access. Okay. So next thing will be, I need to call a parent object. Set parent object. So I'll just have a C2 or C1. C dot set parent object is a right. And which object I am storing here? Vendor. So C dot set to parent object lo vendor అనేది స్టోర్ చేసామని చెప్పొచ్చు. Okay? Just give me. Now, so I need to add vendor object to the child. That's the difference we have from many to one. Whereas yesterday we have seen child object is being added to the particular vendor thing. That's the reason we call this set. Right? So the reverse of this thing, one to many is nothing but many to one. Now after adding the two objects, right, I need to save the session. So I won't be saving the session with the vendor. You have to understand this. I'll be saving the session with the customer object. So customer object you have to save and save session dot save. What do you have? Customer. Just missed something. Yeah, semicolon, right? So I need to save this particular part as session.save, session.save 2 times with 2 different objects known as C and C1 because we are transaction is done by using the customer to vendor. Now I'll drop the tables again. What's the table we had actually? Or the drop table you can say? Customer. The 2 things has been dropped, right? Now I can perform my action. Hibernate mapping. So an association from the table customer refers to an unmapped class that is com dot one to many dot vendor, where we have this thing Hibernate mapping file, that to one to many thing. So inside the customer.java itself we have that thing. 1 to many అంటే ఇక్కడ స్పెల్లింగ్ తప్పు వచ్చింది అంతేనా found dot 1 to many. Okay, if you type the same thing it's the same problem, but if you just debug it again it's fine. So it got created, right? We need to have that values stored inside the customer and the vendor. So how that order is stored, like here select star from vendor, and we have one more thing, select star from customer. So we got two things, right? Shiva is a 2021 and Pradeep is a 2023. I got a value. What's that value I got? Only 1023. What's a dummy? Because I gave the name as dummy.
Column.
Now, what is it? Here in vendor or Hibernate mapping, you need to see that what methods you have called. C and C1 both has been called, right? That is one to many transaction. Okay. Now many to one is what? The top one is getting executed and the next one we are having some trouble. So 1023 is a vendor ID and here this entire thing is a customer table. Okay. Now suppose I am creating one more object. What is the one more object you can say? Customer C2 equals to new so what is it? I am creating a customer. After creating the customer, C2 dot set customer name. Sorry, set customer ID you can say. So what's the ID we have here? I'll just call the method. Set customer ID. So what's that ID you can say 1021. Right? After that, C2 dot set customer name. So what's the customer name we have? So I'm saying it as Dinesh. So that is the ID of the customer, that is the name. So just I'll drop the things. Save this particular thing, call that thing. Like here we need to call the set object also, right? Yeah, I didn't add the C dot set parent objects in the C1 object also. ఇక్కడ యాడ్ చేయలేదు కాబట్టి అక్కడ వాల్యూ అనేది యాడ్ అవ్వలేదు అంతే. సో దీన్ని యాడ్ చేయాలి C1 dot get parents object v and C2 dot get or set parent objects. Now we need to insert again if you say. It has been created. Select star from customer, select star from vendor. Now we got the two values, right? But the third value, why we didn't got? Because we didn't save it as session.save. In order to have that thing executed, you need to call this thing as session.save. So that is C2 thing which has been added. Now if I compile the same thing and again, So how many values will get created? 3 values you can say. Okay. So this is what many to one means. Subclass object is being mapped to the parent class object. Okay. For that reason, the subclass will have the parent object inside the room. So next, inside the class also you can say. Next, inside the vendor we have only the ID and the name. That's it. Okay. So is it clear? One to many and many to one. ఇక్కడ వరకు క్లియరా? Is my voice audible properly? Try to respond.
Yes.
Fine. So the next thing, what I want to do, I need many to many mapping example. Suppose consider you have joined the Java course and the same students they are joining that Hadoop course now. So what is happening? Many students are joining a single course, or a single course is being taught to many students. So it's a similar thing, right? Many to many is nothing but 2 times we have to say, like one time we have to say many to many, sorry, many to one, and the second time we have to say one to many. Suppose I'll just write the thing. So what is the thing you can say? Many to many relationship between two Kojo is like applying one to many relationship. And now after this one to many relationship, we have one more thing known as many to one relationship. Okay. So both the sides we have the one to many relationship you can say. That is nothing but many to many application. Okay. Now for this, what is the example you can consider? You can consider a primary key and a foreign key which is mandatory for the particular database column. So I'll take a student, I'll take a course. That student is trying to interact with the course. The course is being taught to multiple students. So here the one-to-many mapping tag will come inside two Hibernate mapping files. Okay. So the basic things are required here. Now I'm writing a package many to many. So I'll create an application. File is there. That file is being checked like here. Many to many. So here many to many is there and just say finish. In this thing first I'll create a course or a student table. Sorry, student class. Suppose I'm taking a package like just str. This is the package name you can say. And I need to use a class name. What is the class name I'm using? Student. Okay. So now in this thing, what we need to declare? I need 3 particular columns. It's more than enough. Int id, or you can say student id, the particular thing we are applying. And now private will be there. The private string is there nothing but string student name you can say. And now private int marks. So this for these three things, I need to set that particular parameter, like what you can say setter and getter methods. And we already know in the one-to-many mapping, we used this particular set object inside the class, right? The same process we have to follow here. So what is the next thing you can say? Private. So previously what you have said, set the courses. So here we have a course or we have a particular thing. So we need course set chali, ఇక్కడ courses and రాస్తున్నా. So I need to import the set, right? Now I need to generate the setter and getter methods. Right click, source, generate getter and setter method, select all and just say it as okay. సో ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే అన్ని మొత్తం క్లాస్ కి మొత్తానికి ఇక్కడ జనరేట్ అయిపోతుంది. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ స్టూడెంట్ పర్టికులర్ క్లాస్ యూ కెన్ సే. నౌ వాట్ we have a course.java అంటే కోర్స్ అనే ఒక ఫైల్ ఉంది. So what's the class I am creating now? What class we need here? We can have the course because we are having a student and a course, right? So course.java. So what do you mean by this? Inside this course, I need to have few variables again. What are the few variables? Private, it's mandatory or optional, like private declaration. What is the thing? Course ID, private string, course name. So ID course name is not sufficient. What is the course spelling? Course. And we have a private int duration. And now what we have a private. We need to set the students. So that is what set under the interface abstract class it's an interface. It's sorry. That's it. So now for these things, ఇప్పుడు స్టూడెంట్ లో కూడా ఒకటి ఉంది అండ్ కస్టమర్ లో కూడా ఒకటి ఉంది.
Course.
Right. Now I need to generate the setter and getter methods. How to generate the setter and getter methods? Right click, say run as source, generate getter and setter methods, select all and say click OK. So in this way we got the student course and the course related things, right? Now the next thing what you have to write, I need to write inside the package like new. What's the file name? Now what's the thing you can see? We need a student.hbm.xml. So inside that we need to write a tag, right? What is the tag you can say? this doc type. This must be copied. The course, so just save this thing. Next clicking call into Hibernate mapping call. In this Hibernate mapping, we write a class. This is what student Hibernate mapping file. Okay, student is the subclass, and what is the next thing we have written? Course is the superclass. So a class is there where we mention a particular package name. So what is the package name? We can say. So what we have, a class tag. Inside the class tag we have name. What is that name? We can say str.student. So that's the student table it is referring to. Okay, if any student table is there, try to drop this thing, drop table student. So drop the table. Now what is the next thing we have? After writing the class, what we write generally? We need the ID parameter, right? Similar thing. ID is what? Student. So student, and we have a name. What's the name we can say? Student name. And this student name, ID the student or a thing? ID? Student name unda, or we have one more thing as ID undi actually. So student ID undi kada, copy chesi student.hbm.xml lo paste chestunna. Right? That is the student ID. For the column, like directly, what you have to write here for the column? Which particular column we can say? Now we need to specify the column ID, column name you can say. So any name you can have, and just having ID, SID. That's it. That's the column on the database you can say. Now the property name. What's the property name we have? We have student name, and column equals to what we have? Column. Which column it's representing? You need to create a new thing. It's up to you which column you want to have, or you can have S name also. Okay, so this is the two properties what we need to use, and we have used it already. Now the last thing will be the marks, right? Did I have marks inside the student? What variables did I take inside the student? First is student ID, and second is student name. The third is student marks. Fine. So we need to import that particular documents for the interfaces. So here student.hbm file, it did not got completed actually. So I need to specify one more tag known as what? Property. And that property is nothing but we have marks. Okay, so what do you mean by marks here? So we just set the properties from the Pojo class to the database. Okay, now after this, what we have the next thing? It's inside the class itself, right? Like set name equals to courses. దేంట్లో ఈ కోర్స్ ఉంది? It's for the same thing, like courses name equals to courses and cascade equals to all, and we have a table. So what is the table we have? Actually, we don't create the object, right? Just student name. Instead of student name, we can give a table known as student course. So student underscore courses, and the key column we are setting, that key column is nothing but, what's that key column? Student underscore id. సో ఇక్కడ కీ కాలం ఏంటంటే మన ఫారెన్ కీ ప్రైమరీ కీ ఉంటుంది కదా, అలా కీ కాలం ఏంటో స్పెసిఫై చేస్తున్నాను ఇక్కడ. ఓకే, సో హియర్ ఐ గెస్ దట్ స్టూడెంట్ inside this particular Java has selected a name as student id directly, not only small letters, right? So inside the thing, so either you can see the foreign key is nothing but the student id. Now inside the set we need to write a tag, or the tag you can say many to many. So the tags are similar to that particular project name, right? Many to many class. So inside the class, what is the definition we have? There is no memory, right? So str dot course, and column equals to course underscore id. సో బేసిక్గా ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఏదన్నా కోర్స్ స్టూడెంట్ అండర్స్కోర్ ఐడి అనే వేరియబుల్ ఉంటే అప్పుడు ఇట్స్ అలౌడ్. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ స్టూడెంట్ ఐడి లేదు, కోర్స్ ఐడి లేదు, రైట్? డైరెక్ట్లీ నౌ ఇన్సైడ్ ద కస్టమర్ ఆల్సో, వాట్ ఈస్ దట్? పేరెంట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ కాలమ్ ఈస్ దిస్ వన్, వన్ మెనీ టు వన్ అక్కడ రాసాం. ఇక్కడ ఏం రాస్తున్నాం? మెనీ టు మెనీ. అండ్ మెనీ టు మెనీలో కూడా ఏం రాస్తున్నాం? ఇక్కడ నేను స్ట్రింగ్ కోర్స్ కాలమ్ ఈక్వల్స్ టు కోర్స్ అండర్ స్కోర్ ఐడి, అంటే డేటాబేస్ లో కాలమ్ ఏ క్లాస్ కి వర్తిస్తుందో చెప్పడానికి అంతే. ఓకే, సో నౌ వీ నీడ్ టు రైట్ వన్ మోర్ ఫైల్ known as customer.xml file. So I need to create another file known as XML file. Inside that we have, what is the thing you can say? Course. Course dot HBM dot XML. సో ఇక్కడ కాపీ చేసిందే ఇక్కడ కాపీ చేస్తున్నాను, సేమ్ థింగ్. నెక్స్ట్ ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ వీ హ్యావ్ ఏ క్లాస్ నేమ్. సో ఇవన్నీ క్లాస్ నేమ్ ఎక్కడ ఉంటాయి? ఏ ట్యాగ్ లో ఇవన్నీ హైబర్నేట్ mapping file. Okay, so inside that Hibernate mapping file we have a class. In the class str.courses. So course is nothing but the C capital. The method name rules, the class name rules you have to understand. Here table equals to what you are taking, which table you are taking? Courses. The database table automatically generates chestunda ikkada. You don't have to create again for that particular table. Okay, so that name id is name what? course ID. This is normal. What's it column you can see? The column is course ID itself. In small case you can say. Right? So next thing, after the ID, what we have? Property name. So property name equals to course name and column equals to course name itself. And if you want, you can give a length of 20. It will limit the size of the thing. Okay. The same thing you can use it in student also. So we have that student S name, right? And that S name can be specified the length. So what is the length I am specifying here? 20. So దీంట్లో ఇంకో ట్యాగ్ రాస్తున్నాను నేను. ఏంటా ఇంకో ట్యాగ్? డ్యూరేషన్. Property name is what? Duration. So one thing, do we have the duration thing? Yeah. So duration is కూడా మన దాంట్లో డిక్లేర్ చేసాం కాబట్టి fine. There is no issue. Okay. Next set tag. ఈ set అనే tag లో names will be students. And in this particular reverse equals to false. ఇది మనకి దాంట్లో కూడా ఉండే ఇక్కడ one to many mapping లో కూడా ఎందుకు రాసాము అక్కడ one to many mapping లో like inverse or like insert is false and what's the meaning of that? Right, that is a key. After setting the key, the last one will be the many to many. So many to many, the class is there, str dot student so many to many లో ఈ particular thing ని మ్యాప్ చేయాలి. str dot student ని దేంతో మ్యాప్ చేస్తున్నాను? కాలమ్ తో. ఏంటో కాలమ్? స్టూడెంట్ అండర్ స్కోర్ ఐడి. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ ద థింగ్. సో ఇందాక నేను దీంట్లో కాలమ్ చేంజ్ చేశాను. ఏంటో అది కాలమ్? అది కోర్స్ అండర్ స్కోర్ ఐడి ఉంది అండ్ స్టూడెంట్ అండర్ స్కోర్ కోర్సెస్ కూడా ఉంది. Yeah, student name, courses, cascade, and the course. Right? So next, after writing this, we need a Hibernate mapping file. So that Hibernate mapping file is common, right? So I'll just copy that file. Hibernate configuration file. I'll just copy this thing. One to many copy చేసుకొని వచ్చి inside the particular src and paste it. అది రిమూవ్ అయిపోతుంది. కాపీ చేసి పేస్ట్ చేస్తే అయిపోతుంది. రైట్. ఈ కాన్ఫిగరేషన్ ఫైల్ ఏమైనా చేంజ్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంటుందా మనకి? మనకి కస్టమర్ ఉన్నాడు అసలు హైబ్రిడ్ కాన్ఫిగరేషన్ ఫైల్లో? No, right? We have a file known as course.hbm and ఇంకోటి ఏంటిది student.hbm. సో ఇప్పుడు దీని ప్లేసెస్ లో ఏమైనా రావాలి? నాకు course.hbm ఒకటి రావాలి, student.hbm అనేది ఇంకోటి రావాలి. student.html. Next thing you can say. Okay. So now after this, the last file will be the operation file. ఏదైతే ఆపరేషన్ చేసానో దాన్ని బేస్ చేసుకుని ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది. సో న్యూ జావా ప్రాజెక్ట్, sorry, not Java, the class. What is the class? Many to many or many to many input codes. Okay, so finish the class. Now in this thing we already have the Hibernate mapping, the connectivity code, right? So ఇక్కడ కామన్ సెషన్ వరకు కామన్ గా నేను ఎంత కాపీ చేసి ఎక్కడ పే చేస్తున్నాను, ఇక్కడ మెనీ టు దిస్ పర్టికులర్. సో ఇదంతా నేను మ్యాప్ చేయాలంటే రైట్ క్లిక్ చేసి బిల్డ్ పాత్ చేయాలి. సో ఎవ్రీ టైమ్ whenever you create a new project you need to build the path or add the library file. అన్ని జావా ఫైల్స్ స్పెషల్ కాకుండా ఒక లైబ్రరీ క్రియేట్ చేసి ఆ లైబ్రరీని యాడ్ చేసుకుంటున్నాను. దట్స్ ఎ బెటర్ వే. ఓకే, సో when you click on OK, it has been executed. ఇక్కడ ఉన్న errors అన్ని వెళ్ళిపోయాయనుకుని చెప్పచ్చు. Now in this thing I need to create an object for student first. ఇప్పుడు ఒక స్టూడెంట్ ఉన్నాడు అనుకుందాం. సో ఏం చేస్తున్నా, ఇక్కడ స్టూడెంట్ s1 equals to new student, and the same way s1 dot set. What is that set we have to do? Set id, student id. So 1023 set చేస్తున్నాను. s1 dot set student name. Okay, I'll just see it as here. After that we have marks, right? So s1 dot set marks. For that marks you can say 8. Now after this we can create a particular student object again, right? అంటే 2 students 2 courses క్రియేట్ చేస్తే సెట్ అయిపోతుంది. many to many వర్క్ అవుతుందని చెప్పొచ్చు. ఓకే, సో యాడింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ఆల్సో విల్ టేక్ పార్ట్. లైక్ సెట్ నుంచి మనం యాడ్ చేస్తున్నాం, ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ని ఇంకో ఆబ్జెక్ట్ లో యాడ్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఆ యాడింగ్ అనేది అయిపోతే దాన్ని మనము సెషన్ ద్వారా సేవ్ చేయొచ్చు, ఇన్సర్ట్ చేయొచ్చు. ఓకే, సో దోస్ ఆర్ డిపెండింగ్ ఆన్ ఈచ్ అదర్ అని కూడా చెప్పొచ్చు మనం. సో నౌ here after this 1023, so what is the next thing we need to create? I'm creating one more object. So ఇదే వాల్యూస్ కూడా పెట్టుకోవచ్చు, ఆర్ s2 అని పెడితే (1025) Ravi. Now after the student object, 2 students object has been there, then we have the course. So what course is there? c1 equals to new course. So if I say c1 dot set course id, we can set the course id as 2021. c1 dot set course name. For that name you can set anything, I'll just set it as Java. And c1 dot set duration. Okay, so what is the duration? You can say 90 days. And after this again I have to create one more object. So in ingo course this because many students learning many courses, you can say. So we have the oracles. Simply objects దేనికి యాడ్ చేయాలి? సెట్ అనే ఒక పర్టికులర్ మనం ట్యాగ్ రాసాం, s equals to new hash set, right? Similar to what we have done in the one to many mapping. సో ఆ సెట్ అనే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ నేను ఏం యాడ్ చేయాలి? హియర్ did I import or not? I need to call the add object, and inside that add object courses ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో ఫస్ట్ ఆ కోర్సెస్ అనేది యాడ్ చేసాం. సపోజ్ s dot add. So what is the next course you can say?
C2.
ఇప్పుడు 2 ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ అనేవి యాడ్ అయిపోయాయి. ఓకే, యాడ్ అయిన పర్టికులర్ థింగ్స్ నేను దేనికి యాడ్ చేయాలి ఇప్పుడు? ఇట్స్ నథింగ్ బట్ టు ది స్టూడెంట్, అంటే ఆ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఈ 2 కోర్సెస్ నేర్చుకుంటున్నారు, రైట్? సో అప్పుడు ఏమని చెప్పొచ్చు? హియర్ వి హ్యావ్ శివ అండ్ రవి ఫర్ లెర్నింగ్ జావా అండ్ ఒరాకిల్ బోత్. శివ జావా అండ్ ఒరాకిల్ నేర్చుకుంటున్నాడు, రవి కూడా జావా అండ్ ఒరాకిల్ నేర్చుకుంటున్నాడు. సో దానికి సింపుల్ గా రిప్రజెంట్ చేయడానికి s1 డాట్ సెట్ కోర్స్. ఆ కోర్స్ సెట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏం కోర్సెస్ సెట్ చేస్తున్నాను నేను? ఇట్స్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఎస్. ఆల్రెడీ మనకు ఆబ్జెక్ట్ వచ్చేసి. నెక్స్ట్ ఇన్ ద సేమ్ వే s1 డాట్ ఆర్ s2 ఆబ్జెక్ట్ డాట్ సెట్ కోర్సెస్ ఇవ్వలేదు అక్కడ, ఇచ్చేది కదా. We have again s. Now after this what we need? Transaction, like transaction tx equals new or session dot begin transaction. So once you begin the transaction you need to save this value. ఇప్పటి వరకు డేటాబేస్కి వెళ్ళలేదు, ఇక్కడనే యాడ్ అయ్యాయి, అంటే ఒక పేరెంట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కి చైల్డ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కి మాత్రమే యాడ్ అయ్యాయని చెప్పొచ్చు. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ ఐ నీడ్ టు సెండ్ దిస్ వాల్యూస్ టు ది డేటాబేస్. సో ఏ సెండ్ చేస్తున్నాను? సెషన్ డాట్ సేవ్ s1 స్టూడెంట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ని సేవ్ చేస్తున్నా అని చెప్పొచ్చు. నెక్స్ట్ సెషన్ డాట్ సేవ్, what is it? s2 object you can say. So basic thing, session dot close will be there. Sorry, factory dot close, right? సో ఇంత పెద్ద ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఉంది కాబట్టి ఎక్కడో ఒక దగ్గర ఒక చిన్న మిస్టేక్ అయ్యి ఉండొచ్చు. మాక్సిమం ఇందాక ఇక్కడ కోర్స్ స్టూడెంట్ ఐడి, this is what we had the key in student.hbm, right? student.hbm key column ఏముంది ఇక్కడ? student id. Okay, actually you can say it as student underscore. So column and underscore id అని తీసుకున్నాం మనం. Okay, so you can say the key column is student underscore id. So course underscore id, student underscore courses. Just the table name and the column name are different. Okay, and the marks. Now which file we have to execute? This many to many.java. Or run this file. We got an exception. In the exception, course.hbm file not found. అది ఎక్కడ రాసాం? Hibernate లో. Hibernate లో we have written a mapping resource.
That was actually in the source. We need to drop it outside.
Yeah, అది ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళిందంటే ప్యాకేజ్ లోపల క్రియేట్ చేసాను కాబట్టి రాస్తాను. And we have one more exception. Mapping exception లో ఏ మ్యాపింగ్ course.hbm లో line number 8. course.hbm.exception line number 8. So దీంట్లో స్పెల్లింగ్ ఏంటి? కోర్స్ కరెక్టే కదా?
correct one.
మనం ఏం యాడ్ చేసినాం 8 లైన్ నెంబర్ 8 లో ఓకే ఇది క్లాస్ ఎప్పుడైనా సరే లాస్ట్ లో వస్తుంది కదా రైట్ మనం డైరెక్ట్ అప్పుడే క్లోజ్ చేయండి ఎక్కడ క్లోజ్ చేస్తాము సెట్ అయిన వాల్యూస్ అన్ని అయిన తర్వాత క్లోజ్ చేయాలి ఓకే ఆ క్లాస్ లో ఇవన్నీ ఉన్నాయి ఆ క్లాస్ ట్యాగ్ లో ఈ వేరియబుల్ ఉంది ఈ ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఉన్నాయని చెప్పడానికి ఓకే నెక్స్ట్ again one more exception what is it could not pass student.hvm sorry around line number 11 a document student.hvm లో లైన్ నంబర్ లో 11 లో సెట్ చేసిన తర్వాత కోర్సెస్ క్యాస్కేడ్ ఆల్ అనేది డబుల్ కోట్స్ కదా డబుల్ కోట్స్ మిస్ అవుతుందని చెప్తుంది సో ఎక్సెప్షన్ రీడ్ చేస్తే బెటరే లైక్ ఇఫ్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్ ద ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ ఇట్స్ ఈజీ టు ఫైండ్ అవుట్ ఆ ఎక్సెప్షన్ క్లియర్ గా అర్థం చేసుకున్నాం అంతే మళ్ళీ ఇంకో here it's showing to the file again so which file you have now an association from the table student courses refers to a unmapped class str.course like course dot దాంట్లోనే దీంట్లో ఏమవుతుందంటే సో కోర్స్ డాట్ హెచ్పిఎం లో మళ్ళీ ఇంకో కాలం ఉన్నట్టు ఏంటది సెట్ నేమ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఇన్వర్స్ అనేది ఫాల్స్ క్యాస్కేడ్ అనేది ఆల్ టేబుల్ అనేది స్టూడెంట్స్ అండర్ స్కోర్ కోర్సెస్ అని రాసిన ఏంటిది స్టూడెంట్ కోర్సెస్ ఓకే సో స్టూడెంట్ అండర్ స్కోర్ కోర్సెస్ మనం క్రియేట్ చేసిన చెప్తుంది నెక్స్ట్ క్లిక్ ఆన్ దిస్ థింగ్ now an association from the table student underscore courses refers to unmapped class save చేయలేదా students okay I need to open that file again actually yeah saving the students underscore courses ఇంకెక్కడ స్టూడెంట్ ఉంది స్టూడెంట్స్ కాకుండా yeah here it's also students underscore courses so drop table student okay స్టూడెంట్స్ కూడా ఉందా లేదు అసలు ఏ ఫైల్స్ లేవు ఫైన్ many to many map that particular file students underscore courses refers to an unmapped class known as str.course okay str.course లో course capital course అంటే క్లాస్ నేమ్ కదా right in student thing we need to have it capital again we have anything else small and capital problem అవుతుంది ఇక్కడ str.course id ని రిఫర్ చేస్తుంది okay so we need to have a particular file now it got executed after long time. So select start from students no rows selected right We need to insert, right?
Where is going selection?
అదే select అవుతుంది యాక్చువల్లీ. మనం ఇక్కడ select రాసాము తెలుగులో.
It's a problem with the mapping.
ఇది అవ్వట్లే యాక్చువల్లీ. ఇన్సర్ట్ చేసి సేవ్ అవుతే మనకి సెలెక్ట్ అవ్వాలి. ఓకే, కమిట్ కొట్టాను నేను. ఎస్, కమిట్ కొట్టాను, సేవ్ అవ్వు కదా. ఓకే, నౌ యూ కెన్ సే డ్రాప్ టేబుల్ స్టూడెంట్ టేబుల్ కోర్స్. అదేంటిది?
Both having the keys, primary keys in both of them.
So
actually, we can put create and drop in that HPM. Yeah.
So many to many lo just run this. Yeah, now it's inserted and executed. Okay, it's coming, right? సరే, మెనీ టు మెనీ అంటే రెండింటికి ఫారెన్ కి రిలేషన్షిప్ వస్తుంది. ఓకే, అండ్ ప్రైమరీ కి రిలేషన్షిప్ ఆల్సో ఇస్ కమింగ్. దట్ యూ కెన్ సీ, అండర్స్టాండ్. ఫైన్. సో దట్స్ ఇట్ ఫర్ టుడే. Meet tomorrow. Yes, that works. Okay.